And it's the Farmers' Day edition of the polls here on the Joy News channel. Coming up this afternoon, government urged to consider providing borehole facilities for farmers to reduce the cost of farming. We'll engage 1996 best farmer George Alokodango, who is making a case for government to increase investment in the agricultural sector to ensure food security.
I wish that the government can really see key farmers and create more boreholes.
So instead of dams,
can create more boreholes. Can either generate them using generators or use electricity.
We have more coming your way shortly, and as the world observes the World AIDS Day, we bring you an exclusive interview with the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Chirema Etuahene, as we speak about these alarming figures in some parts of the country. And ahead as well, we'll talk about the new patriotic party's parliamentary primaries in the orphan constituencies as we put a spotlight on the Ablekuma Central constituency. We'll have one of the aspirants join us here on the polls. There's more coming over here on the polls with me, Blessed Suga. We're on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125. This is the polls brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu Affordable Safe Sanitation. Don't forget that we're on YouTube, we're on Facebook as well, and myjoyonline.com. Joy News is independent, fearless, and credible. Welcome to the polls. We'll give you details shortly. Well, this afternoon, as we celebrate farmers across the country, stakeholders are pushing for government to increase investment in the agricultural sector to ensure that the country is food secure. My colleague Gaben Sabote engaged the 1996 national best farmer, George Alokodango, who is making a case for government to consider borehole facilities as part of incentives for farmers to reduce the cost of farming. And for those of you who missed it, here are excerpts of their conversation from Polugu in the Upper East region.
When you go down, we've started. Some have started doing only.
Okay.
But what I do is there's a man-made lake here. So I have 2 big water pumps.
Okay.
That can supply the whole of
the whole area.
The whole 70 acres. The whole area is 100. But we're utilizing 70 at the moment.
So you don't have issue with irrigation?
No. The only problem is that the high cost of fuel.
What do you use the fuel for?
For irrigating. We put inside the pumping machines. I'll open and go with you and you see.
Okay. So and especially with the mangoes, where they have gotten to, do you still have to pump to water them?
Yes. Normally, at this their age, because of the weather here, you have to water at least twice. Twice in a month.
In a month?
In a month, you give them water twice because of the harsh weather conditions. But we're down south at this age, when it's about 5 years, you don't water them again.
Okay.
All what you do is you keep on spraying and applying fertilizer. Yeah, the fertilizer application on the mango is not like this thing. The mango tree, you dig a hole around it. You see, then put the fertilizer and cover it. And when the water comes, you see that it will shape.
Okay, I see. So how has it been, especially with the mango? Is it difficult?
The beginning was difficult, but you know, up here, people haven't tried mango. I decided to try it. And it's doing well.
10 years or more than 10 years ago, you were declared the best farmer nationally. I mean, the former president, Jerry Rawlings, gave you all the necessary equipment, the cash prizes, stuff like that. How was it like? I mean, what went into that? What were some of the farming, products that you were harvesting or you were cultivating before getting this?
I had a 300 acre rice field at the condition. Then here, the whole area is 100 acres. That I cultivated 50 acres of maize. Then I did a sorghum, 30 acres, Then I had cowpea and cowpea and soybean, 20 acres. I have a cattle ranch too, numbering 250 cattle.
Wow.
Not the local type.
Okay.
The Burkina type. So I harvested a lot of maize and rice that I used to supply to seed company. Most of my products were seed. I specialize in seed production. So if I produce maize, it's satisfied seed. Rice, satisfied seed. So that I send them to seed company. They clean. We bag them in kilos, so 1 kilo, 5 kilo, 2 kilo, for sale to input dealers.
Okay.
I had input dealers who will come and take it, lift it from me.
I can say by then you were a young man, so...
Oh yeah, very young.
There.
I won that. I was then about 45 years old. 44, 45 years.
Okay. So
1996.
Okay.
Actually, I was an accountant, working with Accountant General. I resigned in 1984 and went into farming.
Wow.
And since then, I haven't regretted.
So you're a chartered accountant?
Yes. I resigned at Accountant General as a principal accounting officer, 1984. I resigned and went into farming.
So does it mean the farming is paying more than being an accountant at the Accountant General at the time?
Exactly, exactly.
Can that same story be said?
Currently now, no, because inputs have gone up very high. Secondly, too, the soils here are depleting day in, day out.
The polygon source?
Yes. Not only the whole upper east region, upper west, part of northern. See that the soil, we have been utilizing the land for long. Now when you go in, either you apply more fertilizer, which is very costly, and the ordinary farmer cannot afford. First, you used to do 1 acre, 1 bag of fertilizer, can do it per acre. Now, you put 1 bag of fertilizer in an acre of maize, you see it growing yellow. So you need to increase it to about 2 or 3 bags per acre before you can get at least yields that are encouraging.
Does it mean the capacity of the fertilizer that used to do, let's say 1 acre, the capacity has reduced, or the quantity? Is it the quantity that have reduced, or the quality? It
is not the quantity, it's not the quality. It is the price.
The cost?
The cost.
Okay, the costs have gone up.
Have gone up. And the soils too have depleted. You know, if you have land that you keep on cultivating it year in, year out, definitely the input, the agrochemicals, what you put into that same soil to be able to harvest your maximum yield, you need to increase.
Okay.
That brings a high cost of.
So does it mean now it costs more to do farming than previously?
Yes.
20 years ago when you received the best
costs
farming?
more. Now, 20 years ago, I think I was paying by those days was 2 cedis, 50 pesos. Now, doing by day, you have to pay 50 cedis. If you are lucky, 40 cedis. Because you have to give the laborer 10 cedis for food. Then at the end of the day, you give that same laborer 30 cedis.
Wow.
So that means you've done, and we start, well, we don't come early. At times we start 9 or 10, and we close 3 or 4.
And you
so we go for a break,
okay.
1 hour break. Okay. So you see that in the end, maybe you have been working for just about 5 hours. And the fellow takes 50 Ghana.
Wow.
See. But those days, come early, the soils are good, you farm, and you get a lot.
What about the services of these tractors and stuff? Elsewhere, I understand they are also...
Very, tractor service is very costly. That's why during Lawrence's time, we got tractors. What he did was that there was something like KR4, this thing, the Japanese grant. Lawrence went to Japan, we got a Japanese grant. That grant, they weren't giving cash. The Japanese would bring in agric implements like tractors, their trailers, their plow, harrow ridges, and they brought in cultivators, they brought in harvesters, threshers, combined harvesters for those of us who are in Fombisi. So those days, you don't need to go and waste 1 month in Fombisi to harvest your rice. You could even get to agric, just go to agric engineering, and they will bring in a combine, come and harvest and pay in kind or in cash. But these days, that Japanese grant is no more. Mm-hmm. So I wish that if the government can't, revamp it.
But there's planting for food and jobs.
Yes, there's planting for food and jobs. But if you are planting for food and the farmer, the ordinary farmer here, look at what we are doing. See that we are using hands. Yes. That we should have had a stretcher to come and stretch. But the stretchers are not there. You understand? Yes. Rawlins's time, there were noted key farmers like me. We had regional key farmers, district chief farmers. They were given this input, and they in turn helped the farmers around them. Like as I'm here, I have 250 farmers. Out of them, 100 are men and 150 female. So you can see that if you have women, you have to work hard for them because they are not like men.
Yes. See. But now it's no more.
But now it's no more because you do all the services, you get your produce, no market. That is one major thing. Mm-hmm. You don't have market. You market for rice, market for maize, you don't get market. They brought in this school feeding and they lifted some. When they did, they will leave some.
So they will not buy all?
They will not buy all.
Why?
Well, you see that they will go and get from elsewhere.
Okay.
You see.
So do you have rice in stock?
Currently, I don't have rice in stock. We are now preparing to go and harvest.
Okay. But the school feeding has also helped in a way.
Yeah, the school feeding has helped a lot. It has helped uptake some of our produce, like rice. You send it to seed company, they will mill it, and then they will also pick it. As for maize, they come, they weigh. Unlike those days, they feel it. No, they will come and they will weigh, they will bargain, they tell you the price.
And be sure to watch a playback of that conversation on all of our social media handles and at myjoyonline.com. But it's also bringing to the fore the concerns of the average farmer out there as we celebrate the National Farmers' Day. Joining us now is Bismarck Owusu-Tete, Head of Programs at the Peasant Farmers Association, joining us via Zoom now. Thank you so much, sir, for spending some time with us. And you've worked closely, I must say, with farmers across the country, so you know what their concerns are. At least the 1996 Best Farmer is talking about some mechanized boreholes just to help an all-year-round irrigation type of farming. But beyond these concerns, what are the imminent policy measures you would say that government needs to consider in a bid to improve the livelihood of the average farmer?
Well, thank you very much, and a good afternoon to your viewers. Let me also use the opportunity to wish all our farmers a very happy Farmers' Day. We know it's not been easy trying to farm and produce food in the most difficult of situations in the country. It's one of the sacrifices that they've been doing, and we need to use this day to commend them for how far they've brought the nation. Zooming in on your question regarding what needs to be done immediately, I think first and foremost, the challenges are enormous, but let me just try and see if I can prioritize a few that we could see if government would pay attention. First and foremost, one of the major problems that we face as farmers is access to credit. Now, a lot of times you hear people say that, why is it that farmers always want government to provide support for them? Why do they want support in terms of input, support in terms of seed, support in terms of fertilizer, or any other services? And then we say that probably it's because the environment is not conducive for us to get these things at very good rates. My brother, now if you are a businessman into farming, or if you want to go into production and you need capital, you need to go to the bank to get a loan. The least interest rate you are paying on that facility is about 35%. And that is in addition to you providing a collateral to the bank. Even if you are going into production, that's the actual work on the farm, then the probability of you even getting the loan is very low, because the banks will tell you that agric is risky, so they won't invest their money. So even the financing that goes to agric even goes more at the end of the value chain, maybe for processing or for aggregation. For that, they are comfortable to fund, but not actual production. So it means that the costs of producing, as the National Best Farmer alluded to, the cost of input, seed, fertilizer, the cost of services, mechanization, and the rest are so expensive that it makes it difficult for the average farmer to be able to afford those particular inputs and produce enough for us. So one of our major challenges is how we can ensure that we are able to get some kind of facility that's able to enable us get the input we need. And anytime we talk about it, you hear the narration about, oh, there's the GESAL, there's the development bank. As I said, those interventions do not even support direct production. They look at the extreme end of the value chain, and that's a major problem. Secondly, we are also talking about agricultural infrastructure. And here, what do I mean? We are heavily reliant on rain-fed agric. If it rains, we do very well. If it doesn't rain, we are in trouble. The challenge is that how come 60 years from independence, we've not been able to put up adequate irrigation facilities across the country? Whether small dugout, whether a huge multi-purpose dam, whether a borehole that can provide water, how come we've not been able to make that a priority to ensure that every year, every season, the farmers can continue to do their farming? The third part has to deal with how we deal with issues around post-harvest. As I earlier mentioned, because we are always relying on the rain, we have just one season. So when we produce at a point where we are harvesting, there are a lot of the food produced for the market. This releases a lot of gluts and post-harvest losses. How is it that we don't have a system where we can purchase and buy this produce for farmers, store them, and then I'll wait for the lean season and then release them to the market? In that way, we are stabilizing prices. But somehow, we are having an approach that is not holistic enough. So today, you hear government say, I'm doing one village, one factory, they do some shoddy work and they say they're okay. You hear them say, we are doing one district, one warehouse, they put up one or two warehouses and they say we have arrived.
And in fact, the latest is the planting for food and jobs phase 2 that we're currently running. I'll take your thoughts on that policy and how to improve it. But this is also happening at the time when, of course, government is considering some level of import restriction. That will definitely mean that we need to boost significantly our domestic production in the areas of rice and other cereals as well. But looking at the outlook of where we are in terms of our production stock, do you feel that government has done well in securing domestic production that would then inure to our benefit if indeed were to apply this import restriction policy that government is seeking to do?
Well, regarding the import restrictions, our position has been very clear on that. We are of the view that, in principle, we agree with government's decision, or the fact that government is able to conceptualize the idea to restrict the importation of some particular commodities to the country. Case in point is rice, because we believe that as a country, we have the capacity, we have the comparative advantage to produce rice to meet local demand and even exports. So it makes sense if there's a bar regarding the number of rice that we can bring into the country. But there's a caveat. The fact that you are putting a restriction on these commodities means that internally you have put in place structures to ensure that there's sustainable production of those commodities, where in the next 1 or 2 years we will not come back to the same situation again. And that's where we have a major challenge with government, that if you seek to import rice, what are the laid down structures or measures that you should put in place to empower the local rice farmer to ensure that he produces sustainably? And that is missing. How well have you provided irrigation facilities across rice growing areas in the country? How well have you given mechanization a major thought? If you listen to a lot of our members who want to rice production, one of their major problems is that when it's time for harvesting, access to combined harvesters is a major problem. There are a lot of farmers across the northern part of the country where they are ready to harvest. They don't get access to these combined harvesters. And then when the dry season sets in and the fire sets in, they set their whole rice on fire and they lose all their investment. So if as a country it's not invested enough in mechanization to ensure that we have adequate combined harvesters that will ensure that all year round they are harvesting, then there's a problem.
I see.
If we don't have a system where we are purchasing the rice and putting them in stock, so that as a country we can have a strategic stock of rice available, so that we know that even if you're not doing all year round, we still have a lot of rice that we can go and bring within the country. If this system are not in place, then it becomes very difficult for government to say that you are banning or you are restricting.
Yeah, and I get the point you're making there. Yeah, it's all about laying the foundation right and getting things right from the start, and that's feeding, and that's indeed feeding into the whole conversation surrounding the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 that government is running now. That's been the flagship project for the Agric Ministry, even as we celebrate National Farmers Day today. The government going big on that policy. Are we on the right track?
Well, I think that the PFJ Phase 2, the minister really began well.
Hello, Bismarck?
It was, at least, can you hear me?
Okay, just take that point for me again, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the PFJ, I think the ministry started very well. This minister at least tried to do a lot of engagements and consultations to get feedback from stakeholders. We like the approach that is a value chain based, in the sense that the interventions are not starting and ending only at the provision of inputs, but providing of services like mechanization up to warehousing and markets. So that's good. But we are beginning to get worried regarding how the ministry wants to implement the PFJ 2.0. And if you're not careful, you might go back to the days of PFJ 1.0. And let's give me a minute, let me just explain. Under the PFJ 2.0, if you read the implementation modalities, the plan is that the government is going to work through what we call the anchor farmer or the aggregator.
Right. Meaning
the aggregator is responsible for providing inputs and services to the smallholder farmer. So meaning government comes nowhere close or nowhere near direct provision of inputs. That's the plan of the PFJ 2. So for us, it was a bit shocking when we read in the 2024 budget that government had already procured seed and fertilizer under PFJ 2 for 2023. And that's a bit shocking to us because there's no way in the plan that government is supposed to do that. In any case, for 2023, the ministry just about 2 months ago laid an expression of interest for aggregators to apply. The results are not yet in. So on which basis the ministry procure and provide the inputs? And to which farmers benefited? Because we had a lot of discussions with farmers across the country. And it appears that no farmer benefited from this.
I see.
So we are saying that if there is no clarity and transparency in the PFJ 2.0, and we are repeating the mistakes of PFJ 1.0, then it should get to a point PFJ 2.0 may fail. Just as 1.0 is failing.
Interesting points. Interesting points there.
That's an area that if the ministry is really ready to work with stakeholders, there's one thing that is very clear about. There should be transparency in how the PFJ 2.0 is going to work. If there is transparency, we are going to get all of us to work together. But if in the beginning you are trying to hide information or you are trying to conjure figures that cannot be traced or they are not credible, it gives room for worry. And I'm afraid that if care is not taken, this PFJ 2.0 might fail.
I see. We'll wait to see what the outcome will be. Grateful for your time. Bismarck Tetet, Head of Programs for for the Peasant Farmers Association. Well, we know that a new maize hybrid seed produced or introduced by the King seed is set to improve maize production in Ghana from the current 2.5 to 3 million metric tons to 10 million metric tons per hectare. Director of Seeds Operation at the King seed, Martini Prasanna, at a briefing and also an inspection of a maize demonstration farm at Sika near the Nkranza area, indicated that the new variety has what it takes to increase farmers' yield and make Ghana a net exporter of maize in the coming years.
Hybrid maize seed introduced by King's Seeds, a subsidiary of Kingdom Exim, has the capacity to increase the country's present yield per hectare of 2 to 3 million metric tons to up to 10 million metric tons or more. Maruti Prasanna is the director of seed operation at King Seeds.
Today, if you see the maize in Ghana, the average yields are around 2.5 to 2.7 metric tons per hectare. So we realize that there is no very good seed available in Ghana to increase the average yields. So we brought in hybrid seed from India through King Seeds and planted both in Ghanaian method where there is less population and also with high population. And we, after 2 months or 3 months, we can see that in the high population, we see the yields can be close to 10 metric tons or more than that. The performance of the hybrids doesn't change with high population. More the population, more the yield. And we can see our vision is to see a happy, smiling farmer.
Maruti Prasanna is optimistic that the new variety of seeds will, aside the improvement of the finances of the local farmers, also help in making Ghana a net exporter of maize in the coming years.
If you see, Ghana is a net importing country, means what is produced in Ghana may not be enough to feed the people. So now when more and more farmers adopt our seeds, Ghana will become a net exporting country. That will mean a lot of foreign currency will come into the country. So Ghana can export to the neighboring countries after feeding their population, the people, as well as the animals.
Bono East Regional Director of Agriculture, James Adu, who was part of a team of experts to inspect a demonstration farm in Sika, stated that the new variety is capable of helping boost the region's maize production, which is in line with government's Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 program, which allows farmers to choose from the various maize varieties in the market.
With this high yield, per the figures we are getting, if it's going to give us that somewhere, then when we promote it, it will creep our maize production. It will increase the maize production, especially yield productivity per acre. So once the productivity improves, then it means we are going to get more food. And with the PFJ2, the Planting for Food and Job Phase 2, that is coming, that is where government is targeting.
Chairman Francis is a farmer whose farm was used for the demonstration of the two seeds, Spring 26 and Tamer 02. He explained that the new King's hybrid seeds will help farmers in the area in terms of yield and asked that it is easy to plant compared to the existing local seeds.
Last year, we had a look at that. Now, few way now here, omodia brewing, but I'm doing fish when you send look at the other dano. Just say, he driano, ne matayano, a batama muyu. I feel in a moment, who calls some say no boom crown out to say a good drain a woman. It's sa a man I walk on a dorsal sene, first a day and Driano.
Producers of the new King's seeds are, however, optimistic that the new variety is the best option for commercial and small farming because of its high yield potential. Anas Sabit, Joy News, Sika in the Nkranza North District.
Also, once again, we're wishing all of our farmers the very best in the years to come. But back here in Accra, the Lepers Aid Committee, in collaboration with the Omega Lion Club of Accra, is organizing a musical concert and a fundraising event to actually build a kitchen for cured lepers at the Wager Leprosarium. And Father Campbell is leading the initiative, is joining us in studio with more. And we also have Hector Avonyuche, the Accra Omega Lions Charter President, all joining us in studio. And indeed, it's a blessing that we are talking about farmers, and also Reverend is also surprising us in studio. How nice to see all of you join us. Welcome to the program. And Reverend, we know about your continuous advocacy and how you, of course, mobilize resources to support cured lepers. But this time around, you're doing this with the Lions Club. First of all, let's talk about the musical concert and why it's so relevant to, helping raise funds, as we can see on the screens now. Just walk us through what we're expecting at this concert.
On Sunday at Christ the King Parish Hall at 5 p.m. in the afternoon, the Winneba Youth Choir will lead us in a musical concert to raise funds. We have this every year, but this year is special because the Lions Club, the Omega Lions Club, came to see me and they said, we're a new club, and we want a project to do in Wager. We want to help you, Father. I said, you've come the right time. I said, I want to build a kitchen. I don't have the money. But
you need the support.
And I need 550,000 CDs to build the kitchen. Because I've noticed that many of the lepers, they haven't got the fingers and the hands to be able to cook properly. You see them trying to, with a box of matches, trying to light a fire.
But they can't hold.
It's difficult, very difficult. So I said, no, let me build a kitchen for them, and I'm hiring a cook, and we're going to give them a good hot meal every day. So I told the Lions, you're coming the right time to come and help me. I need your help. So that's why I'm very happy. Yeah. It's not the first time they've been to Wager. They've helped us many times over the years. There was one time, remember the gutter at the very back, the heavy rain went and knocked down all the walls, and they came to help us. They've been so good to us. But this time,
they're enhancing it. Yes, and we must laud the Lions Club for doing that. But the president will have to speak for the group because this is not the first time you're supporting the cured lepers. What's giving you that urge almost all the time to want to support and reach out to this community?
Okay, thank you. In Lionism, if we charter a club or we form a new club, the club's supposed to take inaugural project.
Right.
So my mother club is Accra Premier Lions Club, who has been working with Father Campbell at the Leprosarium. So when we were chatted, they advised me if I can go to Father and ask Father if we can do something. So when I got to Father said, oh, you are here at the right time.
Right.
He said,
as he's pointing out, yes.
Yeah, so I asked Father, what can we do to help? And Father listed a whole lot of lists for us. And I went back and met my board, and we discussed it, and we selected the kitchen.
Okay, so you decided that you're going to help with the kitchen.
Yes. The reason why we select the kitchen was that one of our thematic area of service is feeding the hungry. So if Father wants to be providing hot meal for the inmate at the Wager Leprosarium, then it's good we provide a kitchen so the Father will continue to feed the lepers.
And I must point out that, it shouldn't just be the Lions Club. More and more people should come around and support. Reverend, what message do you have to that on the need to have more people come up and to support?
Dormont are going to supply the roofing.
Right.
And they've given us all pots and pans and all sorts. So Dormont are doing that. The Indian Women's Association and the Indian community are going to do the foundation. And a young man at Christ the King, Edward Erskine, is going to do all the woodwork inside when we have finished the building. So people are contributing. So we just pray that on Sunday, more people will come to come and support us and be able to put this building up. I'm praying and hope that by the end of January, for World Leprosy Day, we can cut the sod and we start that building in a matter of...
So have you started, something somewhat, yes? Nothing has started yet.
Lions Club, they're going to do all the work. They've got all the architectural drawings, they've got engineers, they've got everybody. So we've no problem there. So we just need more
people to come on board.
But not only that, you know, after we've built it, I'm asking people to come and help us. You know, at times in the morning you see a box of fish or chicken or plantain outside our house. People just come and leave and go. I want more people to come. Eggs, fish, chicken, milk, whatever, bread, you know, so we can feed all of them. This will keep us going and help us to be able to feed them every day, to give them at least one good hot meal a day. That's my aim.
And we'll definitely get there. But Hector, let's talk about the event as well. How can people be a part of it? When is it happening? What's the time and the venue?
Okay, the event is coming Sunday at Christ the King. Christ the King is just opposite the Jubilee House, or the Flagstaff House. Right. And the time is 5 p.m. We are starting 5 p.m. We are inviting the whole public. Everybody can come. It's free. We are not taking gate or anything. Winneba Youth Choir will be there.
Come and support.
Yeah, to support. And we are inviting everybody. We are appealing to the whole public. They should come and support us to put up this building for the lepers so that Father can give them the hot meal that he promised.
And I believe that as the Lions Club, you have more plans in place to support and to contribute some more.
Yes, we started meeting some of the organizations. Some people promised to give cement, some promised to give cash. Yeah. So I'm appealing to all, we need more. Right. And if we even have more than what we want, we can continue to feed this, and we can even do more. We can go up and do more.
So one more time, 5 p.m., Christ the King. Yes, the parish hall. But for those who are Christians as well and who are watching us, you know, the Bible talks a lot about giving. Are there some, you know, teachings there to support and to augment, you know, this whole push and call for the need for us to support?
When I was hungry, you fed me. Yeah. When I was naked, you clothed me. It's all over the Bible, giving and sharing. To give is more blessed to give than to receive. So we're asking the people, you know, give. It's Christmas. The greatest gift we have is the gift of Jesus Christ when he was born, when God the Father sent him into this world. He gave us the gift of the Son of God. So we have to imitate. We've also got to give. And the happiest people today are the people who give. They're the happiest people. When you give, you always feel a joy and peace and happiness. And people have been very good to me. I mean, this is just one project. Yeah. I have other projects. You know, people are helping me on other. The Latter-day Saints are going to help me with the laboratory at Wageham. Right. Ghana Gas Company are going to build a sports center for me so I can have volleyball, football, swimming pool and others, and be able to put the monies I get from the fees, I'd be able to take care. I mean, there's so much happening that, you know, I'm so grateful to the people who support us in every way, and I know God will indeed bless them.
Indeed. And that's why we also need you to be out there, to come out in your numbers, 5 p.m., Christ the King Parish Hall, and then we'll be raising some funds, some more support on the 3rd of December, Sunday the 3rd of December. And there you have it on your screens, the musical concert and fundraising, all in support of the cured labours. And Hector, you have some word for our viewers as we wrap up.
Please, if you want to support us, we have a Momo number and bank details.
Okay. Yes, let's share that.
So the Momo number is 024 33 266 43. The number again.
So it's on your screens as well. For those of you who want to pick that, is 024 332 6643.
The name is Andrew Campbell. That's
that's the name on it.
Yeah, right. And we also have bank detail at ADB Bank.
Right.
Accra Reach.
And but it's on the screen now. For those of you who want to catch the details, you can just do that now. You have that at the bottom part of the graphics you see on the screens right now. So the number once more, 024 332 6643. And the name is Andrew Campbell. And then, of course, for those of you who are doing banking, it's ADB. You see the account number there. There's 10, I believe, 101015 6961302. That's the account number. you should be also putting that in. Father Campbell, your final words as we wrap up.
It's just to say thank you. Thank you to Joy. You've been supporting me all these years. You even gave me an award earlier on.
For the change makers.
And all the benefactors and friends who help us over the years, not just today. I mean, I'm 50 years taking care of wage lepers. I'm 50. And all those years, the people who've helped us and the friends and benefactors, I say, thank you very much. God bless you and continue to support us to help the poor and the needy. I am most grateful. God bless you.
Father Campbell, we say God bless you too for the great work you're doing to support this less privileged people. And also, Hector, thank you for joining us. You're watching The Pulse here on the Joy News channel. We're taking a break. When we return, we'll talk about the World AIDS Day. In fact, the National AIDS Commission is out with a caution to the general public. In fact, let's get to that conversation now. Joining us is the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Chirme Tuahini. There are a number of activities happening leading to, today, where the AIDS Commission is sending a message out to the general public about the need, for awareness creation and all others. Director General, thank you for joining us here on The Pulse. First of all, what's that clarion call to the youthful population, and what would you want them to know about the World AIDS Day?
Thank you, Blessed, for having me, and good afternoon to your cherished viewers. Yes, as you know, the December 1st is designated by the UN as the World AIDS Day, and on that day, we create awareness about the epidemic, and we also take stock of what we have achieved so far, the challenges we are having, and what we need to do to end AIDS, because we have the tools, we have the strategies, we have the policies that can enable us end AIDS by the year 2030. But the one critical issue is risky behaviors that Ghanaians are involved in, which invariably expose them to HIV infection. And so our call to young people is the fact that more and more young people are becoming sexually active, and unfortunately they do not use protection, and here I mean condom. And one major concern is the fact that they are having multiple concurrent sexual partners, and that is a big problem, because that is a high-risk behavior, and that has the high potential of exposing them to HIV and other sexually transmitted infections. And so our call to young people is that, yes, we are still preaching the ABC methods of prevention. It is better for young people not to engage in sex. And that is the best way of protecting oneself, because sexual activity accounts for about 80% of new infections in the country. And therefore, young people are encouraged to abstain from sex. That stands for A. A stands for abstinence, sorry. B, if you cannot abstain, then it is important for you to find somebody who doesn't have HIV. And of course, you must not have it as well. Both of you should test to know that you are both HIV negative. And then be faithful to each other. As long as you continue to do that, then you are you don't have any problem. But if you cannot do any of the two, then you have to use condom correctly and consistently anytime you have sex.
In the last few days, we've been seeing, a number of figures being put out there. So many figures, and I've seen flyers all over the place talking about varied numbers. There's that for the Greater Accra region, the Ashanti region. I mean, just walk us through the regional breakdown, if you do have the time, at least for the let's say, flashpoints, if we should be describing them as such, of the kind of surge in numbers that we're seeing, giving, the updates in terms of the numbers? What can you share with us?
Well, what we know is that HIV is across all the 16 regions of the country. So the region with the highest prevalence are mainly those in the south and the middle belt. So you have Bono region, you have Eastern, you have Greater Accra, Ashanti, Western, Ahafo, and these, of course, Volta is also featuring prominently recently. And it is important that we all recognize that the HIV is still a problem in this country, and therefore everybody has to take, the necessary precautions. And so the regional breakdown in terms of prevalence, let's start with, in terms of prevalence, we have one sec. Yes, Greater Accra, let's talk about Greater Accra first. Greater Accra has the largest HIV population, followed by Ashanti, and I think it is understandable that Greater Accra and Ashanti have the largest share of the Ghanaian population. So obviously you are most likely to find more HIV cases in these regions. But when it comes to new infections, we're seeing more number of new infections in Greater Accra, in Ashanti, Eastern region, Bono, and the rest.
All right. Thanks for the update. That's the Director General of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Dr. Cherme Tuahine. Also joining the conversation now is Queen Lady Nana Yan Sako, Miss Malaika 2023, who's using the power of her activism to promote awareness around the situation. She's working in collaboration with the Ghana AIDS Commission to try as much as possible to promote awareness and education on this. Thank you so much, Nana and Sako, for joining us. Let's start off with what you plan to do now that you are, partnering the AIDS Commission to champion awareness.
Much for this wonderful opportunity. I'd like to say a very big thank you to the Director General for the Ghana AIDS Commission, Ms. Malaika Ghana, and you for giving me this wonderful opportunity. First of all, as a queen, my duty is to give back to the society because I am the representation of the youth. And so, yes, I'm supposed to give back to the society. And for Ms. Malaika, you're supposed to choose a project to do. I decided to choose HIV because of the fact that the numbers keep going up. And by doing so, I decided to embark on a campaign called the Live On campaign to reawaken the awareness of HIV using edutainment. And so.
Okay. We seem to be having some challenges with the connection there. We'll just try to re-establish connections to these two individuals. And apologies for that. You were just talking about your roadmap and what you intend to do. Share that with us as you speak about edutainment, which is one of the key aspects in terms of the focus that you have in driving awareness around HIV/AIDS. And Director General Tuahine is also with us. Director General, this is much more about the youthful population of the country, and of course interventions such as getting icons and people to join forces to promote awareness is something that should be key to the AIDS Commission. What more are you doing beyond partnerships with the likes of Nana and Sako?
So what we are doing is, first of all, to work with all the various youth organizations, the National Youth Authority, the National Service Scheme, the Youth Employment Agency, and we are going to extend it to the Youth Start and all the places where we can find young people to work with. And these young people will be engaged by their own kind, who are influencers, who are mentors, who are role models, to really get them to understand the issues about HIV, the risk that they take, that are leading to, infections among them. And sadly, we continuously receive calls from young people who are crying that they are infected, they've been diagnosed, and that they don't know how it happened. Some of them, it's just one time sexual encounter, and they got it. And so it is themselves to define how they would want to address the HIV problem. That is why Ms. Malaika has come on board. So the young people will be engaging each other and try to work out how they can, keep themselves out of this problem. Because we expect that with the technologies we have, the drugs, the medications, the programs and everything, it should be possible for us not only to end AIDS, but also to have a generation free of HIV. And if we can achieve that, we need to work with the young people.
I see.
Because they account for about a third of new infections in the country.
There's the question about funding and how you're intending to raise more funds in terms of your campaign going forward. But first, let me just try one more time to see if we can reconnect with Queen Lady Nanaya Sako, Ms. Malaika 2023. You were just talking about edutainment there, a key focus for your campaign going forward in terms of creating awareness. How do you intend to do that?
Hello?
We can, yes, loud and clear. We can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. So I will be embarking on a behavior change campaign targeting adolescents and young women in schools and out of school. And by doing so, we are going to develop TV skits using edutainment on YouTube, TV shows. We are going to throw challenges at the youth to create the awareness or to reawaken the awareness on HIV in Ghana.
I see. And of course, you started by also working with the Ghana AIDS Commission. So what message do you have for the youthful population, especially those who are watching us now, in terms of what you'd want them to know about the HIV AIDS condition, and what more education are you providing on that?
Yes, I want them to know that if you have unprotected sex, you are putting yourself at a higher risk of getting HIV. And now it's evident that HIV is not a death sentence, because when we find out that you have HIV, you are put on antiretroviral medication, but then that shouldn't give you the chance to do whatever you like engaging in risky sexual behaviors and all that. And so we are going to be advising the youth. We are going to be organizing shows to reawaken the awareness on HIV. And are you with me?
Yes, I'm right here. So if you could just land on that point for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I also want us to touch on the point about what you're doing now, using the power of your influence, as a beauty queen, to drive change and to push the agenda. Are you expecting that more people in your space, in the creative arts industry at least, will join that fray and to push for more education?
Yes, please. As I said earlier, I'm now the face of the youth. As the Miss Malaika Queen, my duty is to give back to the society, is to bring everyone together. I'm now a role model for them. And so as I'm embarking on this project, they are going to listen to me. They are going to take what I say. Yeah.
I see. Any final message for our viewers, parents out there, and also for young girls who are aspiring to just be like you are? This is the opportune time to educate them about the issues of that you're pointing out to having unprotected sex and its likely risk that comes with it. What message would you like to leave these young girls with?
Yes. We, the youth, are the future of Ghana. We need to come together and make a change. We need to take good care of ourselves. We need to be conscious of the things we do because HIV is still in the system. The fact that you don't see the scary pictures we were seeing growing up doesn't mean there's nothing like HIV. You need to, if you are going to have sex, you need to protect yourself. You don't need to engage in risky sexual behaviors because it comes at a cost. You are going to bear the consequences. And also, HIV is not the end of the world. If you engage or if you find out that you've been exposed to HIV, there are so many things that can be done to help you. And so we should all rise up. We should all come out of our shelves, get tested, so that we can be attended to.
And we wish you all the very best in your campaign. Let me wrap up with you, Director General, the point about funding and going forward. What would you want the general public to know about the kind of support you need and where you would want that to come from?
Yes, thank you for that question. Yesterday, because the World AIDS Day coincides with the Farmers' Day, we did a national deba at the forecourt of State House. And on behalf of His Excellency, the President of Ghana, who happens to be the chairman of the commission, announced to Ghanaians that government is going to provide the needed budgetary support for the HIV response. But as we know, the burden of the financing HIV is much bigger than the funds available to support it. And considering the challenging fiscal situation we have in the country, government cannot do it all. And it is not only Ghana where government is unable to do it all. In many countries in Africa and Asia, the private sector contributes, individuals contribute, especially those who are in businesses, as well as those in formal employment. They contribute to the AIDS fund. Some countries call it AIDS Trust Fund. There are various models or funding streams that countries have developed, and it's a similar one that we have also developed. And one of the platforms we are using is the USSD code, star 9898 hash, which was launched by Honorable Chief of Staff on behalf of the President yesterday at the deba. And so star 9898 hash on MTN and Vodafone, you can use that and follow the prompt and donate any amount that you can give to the response in support of the response. And so we commend to every Ghanaian that HIV is a problem. And Blessed, let me make this point. We always talk about the youth because we know the critical issues about the youth so far as HIV is concerned. But majority of the people who are infected in this country are within the most economically active population. And that has serious implications for the country. And so HIV is an industry issue, it's a business issue, it's agricultural issue, it's educational issue, it's an issue that affects the workplace, affects everybody. And so we all have to work together in contributing to support the national HIV and AIDS response. We need to save lives. We need to prevent new infections, reduce new infections to the barest minimum, and end AIDS deaths and vertical transmission from mother to babies in this country. All these are possible to achieve. All we need is behavior change and funding. If we have these two, we definitely by 2030, we will end AIDS.
And we're grateful that you're spending some time with us, Director General of the AIDS Commission, Dr. Chirma Ituahini, joining us here on The Pulse. And we're taking a break here. When we get back, indeed, we are your election headquarters. The race is heating up for the governing New Patriotic Party's parliamentary primaries in 113 constituencies. We'll tell you about what's happening and also have some conversations with aspirants going into the elections. Please stay. And indeed, we are your election headquarters. The governing New Patriotic Party will this weekend hold parliamentary primaries in 113 constituencies to select candidates for the 2024 general elections. Director of Elections for the party, Evans Namaku, says all is set for a free, fair and transparent election. As our prelude to the coverage on Saturday, we put a spotlight on the Ablekuma Central constituency, where Presidential Staff and also Deputy Director of Communications at the seat of government, Jefferson Saki, is confident of victory. Here is more for those of you who have been waiting for that moment.
Ablekuma Central constituency appears to be an interesting seat. Both the NDC and MPP have won it 4 times each, so the 2024 elections will be a make or break for either party. Ebenezer Nate won the seat for the MPP in 2016, but succumbed to defeat in 2020 to the NDC. He is once again considered a front-runner in the upcoming race. But presidential staffer Jefferson Saki says he is the best man to win back the seat for the governing MPP, and he has a strong backing from the constituency.
When I was growing, I saw him on TV. So personally, I like him the way he's calm and humble. So when he came to the constituency, I see him as somebody who can bring people together, and he's been loved by all.
Jefferson Saki has implemented several welfare-centered projects and programs, and that has drawn him to a lot of the constituent.
I witnessed the Jefferson Healthcare on 10th March 2023. He thinking of the well-being of the delegates, especially with their health. If someone does not have the health insurance card, it means when the person goes to the hospital and the person doesn't have money, and the person is heading to the gateway of his or her death.
Just recently, there was an assault case which had to be with one of the polling stations executive. We took him to the Mamprobi Polyclinic, and with the health insurance, we were able to go through the whole thing. At the end of the day, I think the amount we paid was 10 cedis.
I'm a beneficiary of Jefferson Saki's educational support. I had a scholarship to further my master's education at KNUST Institute of Distance Learning. Yes, I had an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis, which was to pay for my tuition for my master's degree.
He is regarded as the one to win the seat for the party by these constituents.
3
other contenders, Lawrence Anyete Ejay, Brako Amwafo Samuel, and Collins Amwa, are also laying claim to being the best people to lead a party in the Ablekuma Central constituency into the 2024 elections. The question still remains, who will lead the NPP in the 2024 parliamentary elections in one of Ghana's swing constituencies? Samuel Kojo Brace, Joy News, Ablekuma Central.
Well, and that aspirant we're talking about says is leading a campaign for the new energy agenda, a manifesto of hope for the NPP delegates in the Ablekuma Central area. Jefferson Saki is my guest here on The Pulse. It's good to be talking to you after a very busy schedule. You're finding time for us to have a conversation.
And good to be here.
Indeed, you're back home. But I'm just going through your manifesto. I believe this is one of a kind because we've not seen this in a very long time. And you say that, quote, I'll be committed to a different kind of leadership, one that is dedicated to your welfare, your livelihood, and your economic growth, not private gains. What kind of a leadership is that?
Well, we're looking at having a leadership in Ablekuma Central constituency that will be there for the people. Most importantly, their welfare. I keep saying that there are two different stages in this political, agenda. Most importantly, ensuring that your political tradition, the tradition that I belong, the New Patriotic Party, the delegates in there are well-to-do. Right. Taking care of their livelihood, their health, their education, and all these kind of things. I mean, one of the key things that we've been able to institutionalize is the welfare support program, right. Which today is enhancing, and ensuring that, the various electoral areas, the 7 electoral areas in our constituency, has some funds, in their welfare scheme. Right. A dedicated amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis into all 7 electoral areas, making it a 70,000 Ghana cedi welfare support scheme. And I am very proud and happy that today, in all 7 electoral areas, our welfare is
you're coming up against 3 other individuals, I believe. Why should your people, and I mean the delegates, going for Jefferson Saki?
Well, it's about time we have an energized young man, somebody who can, breathe in a fresh air into the constituency. This is one of the most important constituencies in the Greater Accra region, and anytime we get the numbers in Ablekuma Central constituency, right. Obviously because of the kinds of people that we have in there, the Abosokai, Spare Parts Dealers Association, right. That is where our party get a chunk of their votes. So the quest to find a leader who is youthful, who has the ability, the capacity, that energy that is needed to drive the constituency, and somebody the constituents can also look up to, basically, because I keep saying that it is about time that, our party finds a candidate who is able to break into, the other parties as well. Our, election results have been very close over the years. Right. In 2016, for example, we're looking at a vote difference of 6,000. Mm-hmm. By 2020, the NDC closed it up and then beat us up with 204 votes. And so these statistics and facts tells you that we need a candidate who will be much more appealing also, not to the New Patriotic Party delegates.
Yeah, but indeed, if you look at the political history of the area, I guess it's fair to target as a swing area.
Well, it is fair to say that, but the record doesn't really show that. Because if you look at the 2006 elections, where we won for the very first time, right. With Honorable C.S. Crabb, the late Okule Norte, Victor Okule Norte, the former MP, right. Won it on 3 consecutive times on the ticket of our party. That is to say that our party was able to hold.
Okay, so you've held it for more.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it is about the relationship that the candidates, perhaps, or the member of parliament would have with the people. Those are the kinds of things that would determine whether a particular party can hold a seat for that long or not.
Let's talk about the downside of being a youthful person, because some say the 2024 general elections is a very crucial one. You need someone with much more experience. Probably an age might be giving that out to anyone who's relatively older. Is that not a stronger argument to say that it's going to be a tough elections for the governing NPP? You've been in power for 8 years. 8 years, you're seeking to break the 8, and some baggage may come along with it. So you need someone with much more political experience.
Yes, and the political experience, doesn't come that easy. I think that from 2007, when I jumped onto the political campaign trail of the New Patriotic Party, supporting and, communicating for the then candidate, now President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, traveling the length and breadth of our country, knowing the ups and downs of the game of politics. Yeah. It is very good to say that we need that kind of experience. But I can say that I think I've gained enough experience both outside government and both inside government. I remember when we lost the 2008 election, coming back into mainstream media, but not leaving the party and still getting committed to it and learning more, what the party can do, in order to come back. And we did everything we could. I'm happy that I was able to, support the party through my own, communication skills or all the things that we learned in school. And today it's paying off. So when we talk about political experience, I think that, working with the president and studying, the president of the republic, who I should say is the most experienced politician in our country today because he's tasted defeat, he's been able to bounce back and all that. I mean, these are the kinds of experiences that I think I have gained, and not just locally, but also internationally. Conducting and reporting elections in Liberia, in Sierra Leone, in Rwanda, and all these countries, I think adds up to my experience when it comes to politics.
And it's good that you're talking about your background and where you're coming from, and that's where many say, we didn't see this coming.
Yes.
Right. Is this something you've always longed for?
Well,
what's been the inspiration?
I think I've always loved the science of politics. But I never thought for once that I would one day, bring myself up to be on a ballot paper. But I think everything happens together for a reason. I think this experience has been an amazing one. My constituents are very excited about the fact that, Jefferson has come in with a new kind of energy. And today, the respect that our polling station executives, need in the Ablekuma Central constituency, they're actually gaining it back. Obviously, because there is a competitor who has brought in some new energy and shaking all other people to sit up and do things right. And so, I mean, this is what I can say for now. I never expected it to happen, but today it is happening. Yeah. And I'm very confident that I've, traveled the length and breadth of the constituency from Mambrook to Ajembu to Batri to Latebiokoshi to Mataheku to Memwete, all 7 electoral areas of our constituency. I've sent, my message of hope, to the good people of Ablekuma Central constituency, especially our distinguished polling station executives. And I'm very confident that, by the grace of God, tomorrow they would reign, happiness.
We'll talk about your expectation for tomorrow, but you're dealing beyond the delegates. If indeed you're giving the nod, you would have to campaign, you have to sell a message across. What message will that be?
Really? It is the new energy message, because the kind of challenges that we have in Ablekuma Central constituency is quite enormous. Poor road infrastructure in there. If you go to areas like Shukura, the Russia areas, the Zongo Junction traffic lights, all these things would have to be tackled. It is unfortunate that, we have not seen some kind of development over the past, years. Obviously, I would say that it's basically because of maybe the kind of member of parliament that we have. There is a saying
why is it not the case that it's about Jefferson who's not been helping, although you come from the community?
See, for what we can do is to ensure that the people get what they want, basically. But you have not been giving the power, to represent the people at the right places that you need to represent the people. Because let's not also forget that when the people vote for you, it's basically like they enshrining their strength, their powers, their spirit into you for you to represent them. As a member of parliament, as a leader of a constituency, you have the ability, the capacity to represent the constituency in all shapes and forms. For example, you can go to a minister who is basically your friend and say, look, Honorable Minister, I'm representing the people of Ablekuma Central constituency. These are the road networks that needs to be done. I'm doing the best that I can, and I can tell you there are some road networks within the constituencies that, over the past months or year or so, I've been, pushing, negotiating, and making sure that, those networks are done. But if your representative in parliament does not have that spirit of, lobbying or negotiation, then it becomes a big
You're stoking a big debate here, and it's part of the criticisms that will face you, that you are at an influential position now in the government. If roads had to be fixed, it has to be fixed by the government. So if you're accusing the MP for the area for that, then everyone will come back to say, why do you need to be MP to fix all of these problems when indeed you can talk to the ministers on our behalf?
There is always a government budgetary allocation basically, for every constituency, for every municipal assembly. The budget is always not enough or substantial to do a lot of the development that needs to be done. What I'm saying is that we need somebody who would represent, the constituency. Obviously, somebody who's been given the power by the people, representing them. I mean, they queue for a very long time to elect you into office and all that. You sit in parliament. You're sitting in parliament with ministers, you're ministers of state who are in a capacity or who are in a very good position to help the constituency. All ministers will tell you, Jefferson is I do the best I can. And within the constituency, recently we have our school placement issues coming up. Right. And you can imagine the number of people that will come to you, obviously because of, the position that you hold. Right. Yes, you may be, in government, but your power stops at a certain limit because you are not the final authority that have been elected, that has been given the power to represent them. You can represent them in a very casual way, do the best that you can. Myself, for example, and the municipal chief executive, and then also our current constituency chairman, there's a very strong, cordial relationship between, all of us. So the little that I can do, with the power, the little that I have, I'm able to do for our constituent members. And, talk of scholarships, talk of education support programs, all these things are being done. It is my prayer that the people of Ablekuma Central constituency, starting with our polling station executives, will give me that spirit, that power to be able to...
What are your chances going into the election?
Well, I think I stand a very good chance, obviously because of, what I've done over the years and over the months, my message of a new energy and a new hope for Ablekuma Central constituency. Over the past 7 days, I've been going into all 7 electoral areas with my last push campaign, and I think our polling station executives are all braced up for a very good story tomorrow. But I can tell you that I stand a very, very good chance, 70%, of winning the elections.
Okay, 70%, I'll mark that down and of course give you a call tomorrow once that process is done. The New Patriotic Party is the vehicle that you'd be, of course, using to champion your race for the 2024 parliamentary seat. Do you feel that that vehicle is marketable enough within the Ablekuma area for which you have the advantage of winning the 2024 elections?
It is very marketable, and basically because of the many, many social interventions that we have, and a lot of my people are the beneficiaries of it. I mean, aside the free SHS policy that is here, the various, scholarship programs that are on, and the people really do see it. The reality is that we're faced with some serious economic challenges, and the president has basically admitted it. The finance minister's last budget was very clear on the way forward. And I'm very confident, sitting where I sit and seeing what I am seeing. Yeah. I'm very confident that moving into the year 2024, there is a lot that government is putting in place to ensure that we have a very, very successful, election in 2024. But most importantly, the livelihood of the Ghanaian people, something that has always been on the heart of the president. And I'm sure that, our political tradition, from the General Secretary to the Chairman, to the various, constituency and national executives, we're all braced up for very good days.
And you're tagging all of that to one anthem or slogan, breaking the 8.
Yes.
And you're seeking to break the 8 with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who's been criticized of making so many promises and hasn't achieved much. Do you share in these criticisms?
It is unfair to say that he hasn't achieved much. I mean, there are lots that, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been able to, achieve in our country. Let's always be reminded that, there is always a leader of a nation. He has been a very loyal, committed vice president of our republic. He has basically championed the agenda of the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And I'm very sure that you heard what he said, for example,
right,
when he was delivering his victory speech on that night, which says that, look, every leader has his own ambition and vision.
Right.
He made us very much aware that his vision is quite clear and perhaps maybe very different from, the vision in which we find ourselves today. But talk of track record, I think Dr. Bawumia has been able to do a lot in our country, if for nothing at all. The fact that the digital system of our country today is working, all of us as youth are very proud to be part of his agenda. And I must say, and I must tell you, that the plans that we have moving into the 2024 election is going to change a lot of narrative, a lot of things that he's been able to do. perhaps we've not been able to capture it and document it very well. But I can assure you that, moving forward into 2024, all these things.
But how come that doesn't appear to be paying off? We've seen the ratings already come through from the Global Info Analytics, putting a number of candidates before persons in Zongo communities and inner communities, just to find out what their thoughts are about the vice president, the likes of John Dramani Mahama, Alan Kojo-Kyerematen, who says he wants to be president now on a different ticket, and others. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia comes second to John Dramani Mahama. Is that not a vote of no confidence on the very community he comes from, and the fact that that might spill over and affect the New Patriotic Party?
No, let's not forget about the fact that, look, he is the candidate of government, basically. And I think it is fair to say that every baggage of the president, every baggage of our party, every baggage of, the challenges today that perhaps we are facing in this country would obviously, be on him. But I am very confident from the way things are going and what we are looking at. And
the figures are nothing to go by? You're dismissive about the figures?
No, the figures are basically nothing to go by. What I believe in is that he's just been elected as a flag bearer, of our party. The plans that he had for our party, he's going to roll them out. His vision, his manifesto, and all those things are going to come out. And when those things are able to come out, we will see clearly. And I don't think that anybody should be very surprised, knowing that you have somebody who's been president of our republic before, from vice president to president of the republic to a presidential candidate, being in a contest with a vice president who, for the very first time...
Same trajectory, by the way,
For the very first time, he's been elected to be the flag bearer of the party. I think that it is very obvious that your initial records, your initial research would show per time and per season, everything will show that, look, this guy has been here for a very long time, and so he's much more popular. But I can assure you, moving into, December 2023, the first few months of 2024, they should come back and do another research, and they're going to see something very different.
I see, and
that's where you're going to see the strength and power.
And in fact, there's something instructive in terms of analysis we did, pointing out that the elections will partly be dependent on not just these two individuals, John Mahama, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, but who would partner them and from what region they'll be coming from. The suggestion about the New Patriotic Party, perhaps going back to your base, the Ashanti region, some say come to the Greater Accra region, maybe the Ablekuma area, and go for Jeff, because that's where, of course, the NPP lost to John Mahama in the last elections. Where should the running mate be coming from?
Well, I think that is a sole responsibility and the decision of the vice president, who is now our candidate. And I think he's doing a lot of work on that. Obviously, there are several names that have come up and all that. And I think all the people that have been mentioned are people who are in a very good position and very capable, of being vice president. But he is the right person.
Yeah, you said you told us that you've learnt a lot. You've told us you've learnt a lot. Yes, which region should the candidate, vice presidential candidate, be coming from?
I cannot say exactly where the region, which region the vice president should be coming from, the candidate. But what I can assure you of, that this is going to be a decision of the vice president, who is now our presidential candidate. He's doing a lot of consultation, obviously with, Council of Elders and patrons of our party.
What's your personal analysis of where the candidate should be coming from?
Well, I think we've always had a certain tradition that says that if your president is from the north, your other, vice president should be from perhaps any of the Akan, speaking areas, and it's always been so vice versa. I believe that is going to be, the trajectory that this would be going. Aside that, it also dependent on the kind of relationship that the president to be, Dr. Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia, would also have. And always, in choosing your vice president, it should always be somebody that you can flow with. And I'm always excited when I see our president today and the vice president. I mean, I've sat in government meetings and I see the cordiality that exists between the two. There's not been once where the two are loggerheads with each other. Yes, in cabinet meetings and in meetings, the vice president, sometimes is very strong on his personal decisions. And there is so much respect on the side of the president himself, who basically respect the decisions and views of people. And I think, these are the things that we are going to see.
Right.
And I'm sure Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going to select somebody he can also have that kind of flow that he
possibly from the south and the Ashanti region, as you're telling us. Maybe, perhaps. Maybe. Is that not creeping into your primaries now? Because many are beginning to do internal politicking. It looks like the spillover effect from your very fiercely contested presidential primaries is not over. Some are even, bringing that to the parliamentary level. We see that all over on social media, people tagging candidates with this camp or the other. Do you see yourself to be aligned with any of the presidential aspirants or candidates?
The reality is that we had a free and fair election, and a leader of our party has been chosen, and we are all rallying behind the leader. I think it is about time that we all bury our differences. Some perhaps which would have wished perhaps candidate A, B, or C would have won. But I'm very excited about the happening so far. The fact that all other candidates who contested in the elections are in a very good and cordial relationship with the Vice President himself. The gentleman's approach by the Vice President, immediately he won, moving into the houses of the various candidates, telling them the need for them to come on board, because the most important thing is that the unity of our party is what we are looking at.
Is that not creeping into your constituency, for instance, where people are just aligning themselves, accusing candidates here and there of, coming from a certain camp? And we need to be honest. You are from, of course, the seat of government. So the accusation is, well, he's being supported by the Vice President. Everyone is going in for him because that's where he works. And due advantage, I guess.
These challenges, has not affected our primaries in Ablikuma Central constituency. Right. For God's sake. I mean, because the reality is that we had a contest, a free and fair contest. People were just free on deciding on which candidates they want to support. Right. It was one of the most beautiful elections where we all supported in one way or the other. When you look at the various camps, those who supported Honorable, Kennedy Ejapong, right. Those who supported Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Efri Yakuto, and all the likes, were all, on the same field, doing their own bidding, doing their own campaigns. The moment the ballots were poured, the separations were done, and the counting was done. It was just beautiful seeing all of us coming together, bracing ourselves for a united new patriotic party, basically because we need this united front. This force of unity is what we need in order to break the 8 in 2024.
I see. Just one more time before I, give you the final opportunity to share your vision again. The point about the outgoing president, he's still our president, so President Akufo-Addo, and his comments on that night, very night, when, of course, he was handing over to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as the leader of the NPP. He seems to be fixated on handing over power to another NPP government. And he keeps repeating that comment over and over again. And now, this time round, the last one, referring directly to John Dramani Mahama, the fact that he cannot afford to see power being handed over to John Dramani Mahama. Is the president having any fixation on John Mahama, or it's just the case that he simply wants to see his party win?
I don't think it is a fixation. I mean, I don't think there is any smart politician who will be willing to give out power easily.
But he's very particular about, where we will hand over power to an NPP.
But you see, he says all these things, bearing in mind that every electoral process in our country is done through a democratic process.
So why not allow the people of Ghana to decide that?
But why shouldn't he campaign for his political party and also for his candidate? I think there's nothing wrong with it. I mean,
you see that much more as a campaign?
Yes.
Yeah, but he's emphatic. He says, I'll hand over, whatever be the case, I'll hand over to the next MPP or a next NPP president.
Because he's been able to build a certain foundation, and it will be very important to, hand over power to somebody who can continue, his foundation that he's been able to lay. He has the master plan. At least Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has a view of how the master plan looks like. Mm-hmm. He is in a better position to continue with the construction that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is doing so far. So there's nothing wrong if the president says, look, it is my wish, it is my will, it is my vision, and perhaps my own wish, basically, that
you're being more diplomatic about the comments. Those were not the exact. Those were not the exact words, Jeff, of the president. The president is emphatic. he says, I will hand over to a next MPP government.
And that is his wish, and that is his prayer.
That's not a wish. That's not a wish. He's very emphatic. Some say that's an anti-democratic statement from the president.
It is a good wish for the Ghanaian people. It is a good wish for the Ghanaian people because, look, a lot of things have happened in our country. We know the economy that we inherited as a government. You remember, basically, between 2015 and 2016, the kinds of demonstrations that were ongoing, the doom saws that we were experiencing, the companies that were shutting down and all these things. I think these are not good days that any serious citizen or politician would want to go back into. And so what I'm saying is that the president is the leader of our country today. He is basically the immediate past leader of our party. He has a plan. He's been able to share his plan with the vice president, who is also coming in basically with his own vision, with his own ambition, his own plan for our country. But what is most important, I keep saying that if we had, continued as a government, when President John Agyekum Kufuor left in 2008, perhaps I'm sure that the kind of development that we were seeing at that time wouldn't have stalled for us to go back into what we saw basically in 2015, 2016. So I think the president's wish and will is that our country, our political tradition is able to hold on to power, not through illegal means, but through what our party fought for, the 1992 struggle to gain, to be able to have, the Fourth Republic as vibrant as it is today. That has basically been the ambition.
Unfortunately, some are challenging that verdict. You've seen the Fix the Country movement also doing their... they are now using a new name for the protest that happened earlier this year. That exercise is likely to begin this month as well, as we understand. They want the president to resign.
I think it's only a political move, basically. Everybody knows in this country what the president has been able to do. I think these are things that you should expect, basically moving into an election here where politicians try as much as possible to fuel, a lot of, sentiments around. And this is what I'm seeing. But what I can tell you is that moving into 2024, the president is very focused. He knows that he inherited a very poor economy, and he will be very excited to hand over an economy that is doing well, that is booming, and I'm very certain that we will be able to achieve that as a government.
Okay, excepts and a prelude to the new energy agenda. And I see on the last page there you say Asieho.
Yes, because I'm number 4 on the ballot.
Some say you're learning from President Kufuor so far.
The wind of change of 2000, yes.
Yes, so your message to delegates, those who are indeed going with this Asieho campaign,
yes.
What would you want them to know?
Yes, there are 1,525 delegates, who are polling station executives in our party, 5 council of elders, 5 council of patrons, 17 executives, 21 coordinators. I am pleading with all of them to be able to give me the nod, to be able to lead our political tradition in the Ablekuma Central constituency. The new energy is an energy of hope. We're bringing something new into the political tradition of our party. And I'm very confident that when I'm elected as a parliamentary candidate, the unity that we need to be able to break the 8 in Ablekuma Central constituency, Jefferson Kwame Nasaki will be your best candidate for that. And I'm saying this with the grace and the will of God. May it come to pass. Thank you.
Okay. I'll keep this. I'll keep this one because it will be, of course, the document that will mark you with when indeed you get that opportunity. But Jeff, it's been great talking to you, and you're back on air. You're back on air. It feels good to be back.
Yes.
Where of course you were years ago. But Jefferson Saki will be on the ballot, and of course number 4.
Yes.
You're asking people to support you, so we'll be there to cover and to see what then happens. And of course, that's all we have for you in this package of the Pulse. I'm Blessed Sugan. We'll see you again. Until then, log on to myjoyonline.com for updates. We are your election headquarters, and we'll be bringing you a coverage of that primaries of the NPP in terms of parliamentary for orphan constituencies. There's more coming your way. It's been a pleasure being with you. Bye-bye for now.